Yeah, let's
Okay,
go.
we're recording. We're
All
recording live.
right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for checking in. Our guest today has competed in the Olympics for both halfpipe and snowboard-cross. She was on Team Canada for over a decade, competed in many world championships and the X Games around the world. Not only an epic snowboarder, she has developed a great love, respect, and passion for traditional Chinese medicine that helped her heal her snowboard injuries. In 2017, she became a certified doctor of TCM. She is more passionate than ever about the powers of traditional Chinese medicine and the lifelong journey and learning ahead. Please welcome Dr. Dominique Vallee. Hello, Dominic. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you for the great intro. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to
I
be
mean,
here.
we got through that time, so that's what's important. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's awesome for you to be here. I know my parents talked about you a lot, so awesome.
Actually, it
Oh,
was
thank you.
the cool thing is it was our neighbor that talked you up about Paul and Janet, our neighbors at Whistler. They go, oh, you got to go see this amazing um, traditional Chinese doctor, acupuncturist, because I was having some lower back issues, and I have for a couple of years. And Paul, my buddy, who's 9 years older than me, and he's like the Energizer Bunny, and we actually mountain bike a lot together and whatever. And whenever he crashes, he rolls. So his nickname now is the Armadillo. So he said, you got to go see Dom and her clinic. And she opened a new Whistler clinic at Creekside Whistler, which is called the Whistler Clinic. How long has that been now, Dom? When did you guys open there?
We opened July 15th of 2020. So like opening a business in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, totally state of the art. Like I walked in there, we've all been to various medical offices and things over the years. I walked in there and I thought like I was in some kind of magical spa. It was, and then your dog Harley, he comes up and he just kind of nestles himself, and he's like this beautiful. It's just an incredible place. And
So
people,
you were wondering why Paul had so much energy then, and then you were like, "What is going on with this guy? I got to figure out his secrets here."
I know. Yeah, that's right. And Paul raved about you. So I started coming. Reiko started coming, and I'm trying to get Devin and all these guys to come down and visit you there, because it's just really vitalized me, so much. So, but let's go back a little bit. Devin mentioned that you're an Olympian, which is incredible. We're all very proud of you being representing Canada in the Olympics was it in Turin or which
Yeah, in
Olympic?
Turin in 2006.
In Turin in 2006. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So what was like you moved to Whistler from Quebec when you were something like 18 years old, like young, and your journey.
Year, I was 15, and the ski and snowboard festival, the West Beach Classic back then.
Oh yeah.
And changed my life. It was like the coolest sporting event I'd ever seen in my life. Just started snowboarding, and that was it. I just wanted to become a pro snowboarder from that event on. I think I had 10 days of snowboarding in me by that time. And I just focused. I used to be a ski racer, so I had a good foundation, and I used to miss a lot of school. And when I get focused and passionate about something, I just kind of go in with blinders and help me or get out of my way.
Wow. So at what age were you? So you were 18, you moved to Whistler. What age were you, training, decide you want to be an Olympian, Team Canada, the Olympian snowboard? Was that like at 20 or is it 22?
For me, watching the Olympics on TV is my first memory of watching TV ever since I was a child.
Yeah.
And it was always a big deal in our family. We would like grab the schedule and plan out the Olympics and what we were going to watch and what we're going to wake up in the middle of the night to watch, depending where it was.
Yeah.
And it was always a dream of mine. I just didn't know really what sport. But then as soon as I discovered snowboarding, I remember watching the games in 98, which was the first Olympics that snowboarding was in Nagano. And all the Canadians that did really well. Obviously, Ross won gold, and
that's right, he did.
Gold medal game. And there was just, I was locked in, and I wanted to go to the Olympics in snowboarding.
Wow. So go ahead, Dev.
Was the first Olympics that snowboard-cross was in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I did both
Man,
half pipe and snowboard cross.
That's
that's
such an
incredible.
unbelievable commitment at like a relatively young age to realize that that's your goal and that's what you want to do. Like that's unbelievable. So like, I know, we've all heard like Olympics, like training for the Olympics must be like the thing, but like, what was that like? Like take us through kind of like training for the Olympics. Like, oh my goodness, that must be
Well,
full on.
it is, but at the same time, I kind of didn't know any better. Like it was my life.
Yeah.
It's my life, my friends, everything that I do or did was snowboarding. So I got on the national team when I was 18,
Oh,
and
wow. That's insane.
you compete around the world, try to do as best as possible.
Right.
I missed the Salt Lake City one by a couple points as well, but I was still too raw. And so I knew that the 2006 were my games. But when all your friends, that's what they do, it's your normal and it's your life.
Wow.
So it was amazing. And I was really fortunate that the decade I was on the national team, our Canadian snowboard team was amazing. And we were together for so many years, traveling together. We were each other's family. We
Wow.
would go to New Zealand in the summer, sometimes Argentina, and then it would be Saas-Fee, Switzerland for the fall, for the first World Cup of the fall. And then we go to Colorado for about a month of training and the first couple Grand Prix and sometimes World Cup. And then you'd have a little break for Christmas. Sometimes it was the Whistler World Cup before Christmas. And then you'd go to Europe for like a couple months and then Korea, Japan, and finish off in the States again.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of training. I think the biggest ups and the biggest downs that you can live in just in one day from,
So what was one of the biggest challenges that you had, being, because you're operating at a very, very high level, right? And there must have been some times where you either had an injury or you had something that, there must have been.
Yeah, injuries are tough and sometimes they come a few at a time.
Right.
And but losing is tough. You learn a lot from losing, and you learn a lot about yourself, about your inner strength. And sometimes you feel so crushed and you're alone in Korea, it could be really, really lonely, even though you're surrounded by your friends and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's individual sport.
Right. It's like the big fight. Like, there people are cheering and your fans are there and there's all excitement. And then you go back to your hotel room where there's no one. It's quiet. Like it must be
Totally. And
you're at 100 to 0. Like, geez.
Exactly. And let's say your roommate does really, really well. And of course you're happy for her, but you're like, shit, does that mean that I don't qualify for the world champs? Does that mean that it takes me out of the bubble for the Olympics? And because everything works in like a 4-year cycles for a lot of sports. And every 2 years is world championships, and this is general in most sports. So when you qualify for world championships, if you get top 16, then you get your Canadian government carding, which takes a huge financial stress off of you. And then you also get more funding, with like your coaches and your trainers and your physios. And then if you win the world championships, then you're automatically qualified for the Olympics. And so everything works in all these cycles. And then what is your world ranking? What is where are you at with your national team? Are you ranked first or second or third or like?
Yeah. So you go back and you're in a common area, all having dinner together with your team. Everybody's smiling at each other, but not secretly, but you're actually thinking, I have to beat you. You're my friend, but I actually have to beat you to get, or I don't know, like it's.
It's also, you have to do your own personal best.
Right.
It's not beating others. It's about you
improving,
nailing your run and doing all your tricks. And because if you have a good run and if you ride your best, you don't have to worry about the others.
So
Right.
what are you telling yourselves in those moments before you take off down that slope? Like where's your headspace at? What are you trying to?
A lot of visualization before the run. But for me, as soon as I strapped on my board, ready to drop in, and I kind of had this habit of over tightening my bindings, knowing I was ready and really locked in. And then I just had some personal cues. For me, I like riding with mittens. So I would like hold my thumbs in my mittens, and that would make me like really focus and grounded and sort of in the moment. Because when you're in the moment, then everything goes.
Everything flows. Yeah.
Exactly.
So then you mentioned some injuries. So, you had injuries, and then did you start, like, I don't know if you were practicing acupuncture or whatnot at the time. Had you looked into something like acupuncture for helping recover from some of your injuries, or?
Yes, my passion for acupuncture started when I was a child. I got really sick with an inner ear problem called Meuniere's disease.
Yes.
And it really affects your inner ear, and it rings, and you have these attacks. So he tried everything. I was maybe 7 or 8, and he tried everything. And a friend of him suggested to go see a Chinese medicine doctor. And it's after years. So sorry.
Oh, bless you.
After years.
It's the pollen in the air. It's crazy.
After years of trying anything, after a few months, it started working, and he was doing acupuncture and cooking the smelly Chinese herbs in our home, and it worked. So I was kind of influenced by that at an early time. And then fast track, our physios started doing IMS, and we had the world's best physios, and I can say that. And
yes.
I always loved IMS. And then one of them was actually trained in Chinese medicine, and she always made the biggest difference on me. And I just thought it was so fascinating when she could just check my heart and tongue and pulse and just know everything what happened that summer.
So IMS is, just want to explain what IMS is. That's not the big needles, is it? That's IBS.
Well, it's what the physios practice, and IMS stands for intramuscular stimulation.
That's right.
What a lot of physios do, they go in and they stimulate a tight muscle, and the muscle twitches and then releases.
Right.
So it's not Chinese medicine, but it's sort of a branch, and it's with acupuncture needles.
Yeah. And I know Reiko's had that. She had some lower back issues a few years ago, and she was in the clinic down the road here in North Vancouver, and she had some of that in her back. But they really, really hit the spot for sure.
Yeah,
those guys,
it works really well. Some people, I personally love that physios do IMS, and makes it just makes it more accessible to everyone, and then it makes my job easier when they come to see me.
Yeah.
I know you. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I know you said in one of your videos, like, I thought it was really cool. You're like, I read the body like it's like a puzzle piece, like you're putting a puzzle together. So why is it so important to like cater to like the individual? Because everybody, is unique, and rather than being like, oh, here's your symptoms, here's a bottle of whatever prescription pills.
Yeah, that's what really attracted me in Chinese medicine, is that it really treats the individual, and we always try to find the root of the problem instead of its symptoms, like masking its symptoms, which I think is the most important thing. So for me, let's say you and Nigel come in for both back pain, but you both have different constitution, different ages, different lifestyles. So you probably have different types of back pain and a different reason for it. So for me, I just want to analyze your body through your pulse and tongue, first off, and then I'll read your whole body. I'll do some testing and see what's going on at a deeper level.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. It's interesting because actually, a good friend of mine, Craig Webb, he has a North Shore Acupuncture just down the road here, and for years he's been telling me a similar thing. He says, Nigel, like 3,000 years ago, the Chinese doctors would get paid to keep people healthy as opposed to treating symptoms of a sickness. Like they would get their payment for actually keeping people not to get sick. And it's that longevity, that's thing. And then that's what Paul, my neighbor at Whistler, told me. He says, Nigel, from now on, it's all about longevity. I don't have to beat people up. It's about having that long life of staying healthy. And I really started thinking about that over the past year during COVID. And then with coming and seeing you, and then with Reiko, with the traditional Japanese, the medicines that her mom used to do, like the herbs, and even when she kind of felt cold or whatever, she would get some sake, like Japanese sake, warm it up, and she put it on a cloth, and she put it on her stomach and lay in bed. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, oh, this is what my mom used to do when her stomach was off. And I thought it was all kind of kooky, but all this, I'm really starting to understand a lot of it more now. And a lot of the stuff that Reiko's mom would do with herbs and everything has really become something that we're all starting to use. And it's just created, I don't know, it's just made us feel more, I don't know, lively and just alive. Yeah.
Don't lose those traditions.
Yeah. I know.
I treat a lot of like first or second generation Chinese immigrants. And I always ask them, I'm like, what would your mom or grandmother tell you? What would they do? What was the soups that they gave you when you were sick, or when you first had your period, or you had this and cramps? And a lot of them kind of lost it and thought, it was just like hocus pocus. But no, it's so important to keep those traditions, because food is medicine. All of those soups and congee and herbal teas, we can't lose this.
I've got my green tea right here, actually.
Good.
I'm actually going to throw up. I've got a little, no, I don't want to embarrass you, but now I just have to share I have to go back to share my screen here somehow. Where'd it go? Where'd you guys go? Oh.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Harley needs to go to the bathroom.
That's okay.
Oh, you got it.
That's okay.
No worries. We can edit around it for sure.
Yeah. He, that's actually good, because I'm trying to.
Is it not working?
I'll cut this part out. No, it's good. There, can you see that now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome.
There we go. I was able to figure that out as well.
Perfect.
Okay. So anyway, this is a great shot of you, Dom.
Thank you.
And here's a couple of shots of you killing it.
Those are both in the Whistler halfpipe. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's incredible.
So like with let's say halfpipe, like when you're taken to the air, what's your like favorite trick? Which is the one that just like clicks? That just feels like, ooh, that's the go-to.
I really like huge backside airs, like the photo on the right. Like a huge method or nose grab. That just feels like you're just floating.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wicked picture. Oh my goodness.
We were really fortunate in 2010 to be able to go up to Cyprus to see Shaun White win the gold medal, and we were there in the stands and with the camera crew and all this stuff, and it was just crazy. And I don't know what his trick was. He did I don't know, there was some name he had for it that I can't remember what it was. Remember that thing that he used to do? And I just can't remember what it was. It was like the Mick flip or the Mick, I don't know what he called it, because I don't know. Anyway,
or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, that was really neat. And then I had no idea that you're, I said like, big wave surfer. This is a pretty big wave.
That is a sweet wave.
It's like double overhead wave there.
This is the last time I went to Indonesia. It was maybe 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And this is in Rote. I always wanted to go to Rote Island.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Rote is the most northern island in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the closest to Australia if you were to paddle across the pond. But it was extremely windy, and Rote is sort of like Bali 40 years ago. There is absolutely nothing there.
Beautiful.
And it was so windy the whole time, and I was freezing. I should have brought a wetsuit. And it was so windy that when you would paddle and try to catch the wave, the wind would just try to because it was offshore, would just try to push you back. And then you were blinded by just a bucket of water getting thrown into your face.
God,
this is a massive wave we're looking at here for the people who are listening right now. Yeah, this is dropping into a big wave. backside here, so not the
Oh,
easiest
and
way.
I'm terrible at backsides.
Yeah, so
And on
you're
that trip,
regular.
it was only lefts for me. And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm going to master backsides. I'm just going to like eat it for 2 weeks.
well, it definitely paid off because look at
That's
that.
incredible. I
It's
don't
a
know how
great
you got out
picture.
through the break. How'd you get out through the break in that? Like I
So,
guess you're
so
duck diving
most,
through, but still.
yeah, most like surf waves in Indonesia, you got to take a boat.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Offshore breaks.
Oh, so you dropped in off a boat off of that to get it, because I'm like, there's no way
Yeah.
you're paddling out through that in a good wind as well. I mean, you haven't got sets that are, 20 seconds apart. They're probably like 7 or 8 seconds apart at that. Or
You get a small board,
crazy.
you get a good duck dive, you can get through anything.
Well, you can. I'm the old guy with my longboard. It's like.
Yeah, you definitely don't want a longboard there. You're gonna die.
No.
So,
cool.
so I gotta say that we're totally infatuated now because of you, Dom, with mushrooms and the power
You're the
of
best.
mushrooms. And Reiko and I in the fall
Tea right
in
here.
Whistler. There you go. Yeah, no, that's great. We were Reiko and I would go hiking around Whistler, and we would find all sorts of mushrooms, and we got a little bit interested more in mushrooms. And then we found oh my gosh, the Japanese, I can't remember what they were, but we kept harvesting them, and they were incredible. We'd cook them up. But the power of the mushrooms that we've learned from you, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what's on the screen here. I know we take them every day. We have for about 6 or 8 months now in our, like you said, either in our coffee or in hot chocolate if we want a day off coffee.
Yeah.
So what do we got in front of us here on the screen?
So on the top left, we have a chaga. And
Mhm.
chaga mushroom, it grows a lot in Whistler actually, and Pemberton.
Yeah.
Chaga is huge for anti-inflammatory. It's also good for allergies and pain. So anything that's anti-inflammatory will help your immune system, will help your pain, will help your circulation, and will help your longevity.
Right.
And then on the right, we have the cordycep mushroom.
The wonders.
Cordycep is the king of mushroom. I think reishi is called the king of mushroom, but I personally love cordycep because it's in Chinese medicine is used for longevity. So for longevity in Chinese medicine, it's all in your kidneys. And for us, we can think about our adrenals, right? When we run out of adrenaline,
Yes.
we're feeling pretty lethargic and burnt out, and we're feeling older than we should be feeling. So cordycep is a really good energy sort of longevity boost.
Yeah, I know. I'd say 6 or 8 months ago when we started coming in for our acupuncture treatment with you at the Whistler Clinic, then you started introducing us to some of these mushrooms. And Reiko knows a lot about mushrooms the Japanese are very big into mushrooms. But we started taking the cordyceps, we started taking lion's mane, and we started taking reishi.
Yeah.
And what we do is, like you said, if you don't want it in your coffee, mix it in a bit of cocoa and put maple syrup in it, and it's incredible if you do that. It's really good. But we put it in our coffee every morning, and but we get this, like, it's just, you get this energy. It's and you feel sharper. Along with some other stuff that we do, which I'll show you a little bit later. But what are the other guys in the middle here? What are the
then the middle one is reishi.
That's the reishi. Okay. Yeah.
Reishi is beautiful and amazing, and it's really good to calm the nervous system. And so let's say for night, it helps you to fall asleep and stay asleep. It's very nourishing. It's also good for anti-inflammatory and allergies. And I just love reishi, but most mushroom are, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll balance you out. So let's say you're really tired, they'll give you a boost. And if you're like too energized, too anxious and stressed, they'll help to calm you down. So they're all adaptogens.
So is it okay? I mean, and what we do is we put the cordyceps, the lion's mane, and the reishi in, like we do like it's a quarter teaspoon or something into a cup and mix them all together. That's okay? Is that we do?
Yeah.
That's all right to do that?
That's what I have right here, actually.
Okay. Yeah. That's what we're doing every day. It's just, it's great. And then I know Devin pointed me to a really good interview with Paul Stamets.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah. That's like a 3-hour, he's like the god of mushrooms, I think. I mean,
he put mushroom on the map. And Yeah,
Yeah.
he has an amazing movie called Fantastic Fungi, which
Mhm.
is the
Exactly.
cinematography in there is just beautiful, but you learn so much about mushrooms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and his interview with Joe Rogan, like it's like a 3-hour interview, and I thought,
Okay.
I listened. It was absolutely fascinating. I was down in the gym, I was working, I just kept playing it, and it's incredible. I thought, oh, a guy talking about mushroom, it was incredible.
It
Really,
constantly blows your mind. Yeah. And he's like talking the entire 3 hours, basically. Joe's just kind of
yeah,
setting him up and he's just talking and it's just ridiculous. Like everything from his TED Talks to, fantastic fungi to, he's just, it just blows your mind what these things can do.
Yeah.
yeah,
I gotta say, all our mushrooms are well sourced and bioavailable from the Whistler company called Stay Wild Organic.
These the guys here.
Mm.
These are the guys here.
Yeah,
These are the ones that we have. These are the ones that we have,
exactly.
right? So Stay
Yeah,
Wild, and it's a Whistler Pemberton company.
the Whistler Pemberton company. Yeah, so I have sometimes I have friends on weekend just literally hacking off chaga, and it's a labor of love.
Wow.
And they use
Wow.
zero plastic. I'm really proud of them as well for using zero plastic.
Yeah, it's a
That's
great
awesome.
local company, and that's what we like. We like we're staying at home because of COVID, and we're now really making an effort to buy local, no matter where we are. It's like we're in Whistler, we'll see if it's from Whistler or Pemberton. If we're in North Van, we'll try and get something from around the Vancouver area, and this is a local company, so it's really cool. So we're taking this every day. It's just
Good.
fantastic. I'm gonna okay. Yeah, I saw this on your Instagram. Sorry, I kind of took a thing. You're a huge supporter of lion's mane, and I've heard that from Ben Greenfield, who has this great book called Boundless, and various other people about lion's mane. They take it every day, but you mentioned that it helps with brain recovery for things like concussions.
Yeah,
Um,
so I discovered lion's mane in my last concussion in 2016, and I had never heard of it.
yeah.
And when I was trying to get a good source of it in 2016, it was impossible. I was trying to bring some in from the States, and I just couldn't find any good source, but it made such an incredible difference that I started just doing more research, and then I started specializing in concussion recovery and brain health.
Uh-huh.
And lion's mane is incredible for it keeps growing your gray matter and it
Oh.
heals your brain. And so for concussion is obviously incredible, but even for daily sort of brain fog, brain fatigue, prevention of Alzheimer's, any
Oh.
sort of even mental health issues,
Hmm.
lion's mane is an incredible brain boost.
Wow. See, that's really interesting because we're taking that. We're having that as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So there's another thing that I've learned from Devin and from yourself. So Devin got me into. I was dealing with some anxiety issues, and and I've talked to you about it as well, and you've been treating me a little bit for that. And I came back down to Vancouver, and Devin had been listening to this guy Wim Hof, right?
Mm.
And he does this breathing. And then I think you introduced me to the book called Breathe by James Nolan, is it, or one of you guys? I think Dom might have. And so it's the breathing technique, and then it was really interesting. So yesterday I'm listening to CBC Radio, and they said that oh my gosh, what's his name? I'm Oh, Patrick Marleau. Patrick Marleau. Okay, he's a hockey player and he plays for, I think he still plays for the San Jose Sharks. So he will beat, as of last night, I don't know if he did or not. I haven't seen the news yet this morning. He was going to beat Gordie Howe's record for the longest the most amount of games played in the NHL. Okay, and Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, he nobody could beat him. So yesterday, apparently, I think he probably did. Patrick Marleau beat the record, and he's an older guy now. He says his secret, or one of the main things that he does during every game, is between the second and third period, he strips off all of his gear and he gets into an ice bath. And then he gets out and he has his gear, I guess, dried a bit, puts it back on, goes back and plays a third period. He said that is one of the key things that he's done for years and years and years that keeps him being able to perform at the level, which
Oh,
just blew my mind. So you guys, Devin, I started doing the breathing exercises with Devin. We started doing the cold plunges, and then I started talking to you about with you, Dom, and you mentioned that some of your friends jump in Green Lake in the middle of winter. I'm like, this is kooky. And so you guys so this is Devin. I have to throw in.
Oh, nice. There
This
you
is
go.
in Nita Lake. So Devin and I started going and doing these plunges, and Reiko too, and my buddy Ian in Nita Lake, and then we do it in the canyon. So we've been doing this every day, in very cold water. And I'm telling you, with the mushrooms, with the acupuncture, with the cold plunges, we're like newly born kids. It's ridiculous and mellow. Like the anxiety, I was dealing with these anxiety issues, and I'd go take a cold plunge and I would come out and I'm good for many hours. I'm just floating around. And it's something that, Norwegians and what they've been doing it forever. And why are we just figuring this out now that it's so good for us? I don't know if you've got any.
well, I think it's all these traditions that are coming back and the importance of it. And in North America, a lot of our traditions are from all over the world. And I don't know if we ever had our own really. But Wim Hof, that's how he started, was because he had a lot of stress and anxiety. And that's how he got into all this breathing.
Right.
And I love Wim Hof for it because he's just a regular guy who, drinks Heineken and eats spaghetti. And he's a health mentor for around the world, and he keeps it simple.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been, so, I mean, because we've been locked down, we've been, I wouldn't say experimenting, but trying all these older traditional methods of doing things, from breathing to, all the way going, like getting more into the acupuncture and the traditional Chinese medicine, to the fungi, and to the cold. And it's totally changed everything that we do. I don't know. And I had to throw up a photograph of this fella here.
Oh my gosh.
This is Harley. You walk into the Whistler Clinic and he comes right up to you and he puts his head right on your lap and he stares up at you.
Not there all the time, but yeah.
It's just fantastic. Not all the time, but it's like, he's, when I'm there, he's there.
Yeah.
So
Does he come in on Mondays? That's his usual work day is Monday.
It's the Mondays. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to turn that off there for a second. Oh, there we go. That's so super cool. Yeah, there we go. I had to throw in the cold plunges because it's been a really incredible part of our routine. I get up every morning and I'm having Reiko's making this beet juice. Beet juice is really good for blood pressure and blood circulation. So making beet juice with ginger all ground up, and I have my shot of that as soon as I wake up. And I'm doing all this stretching and breathing, and then we do this foundation training, which you introduced me to as well, and Paul.
What's my foundation
For my lower back, and we're doing that every single day. And it's this something people can check out. It's Eric Goodman, I think his name is Dr. Eric Goodman out of California, and he does this thing called foundation training for strengthening your lower back. For all of us that have these lower back issues, it's really, really, really good. It's 12 minutes of hell. It's hard, but it's only 12 minutes, and we do it every day. Reiko and I do it every day, and Devin does it, I think, occasionally, and it's been incredible. So all of these things we've learned from you, Dom, and I just want to say thank you so much. And I just want to say that, our traditional medicines are great. They're great, but just to explore some of the Eastern medicines, the traditional Chinese medicines, the power of the mushrooms, it changes our lives, and it's really changed our lives. It's changed Reiko's life, my life, Devin's life. Actually, Devin, your girlfriend's studying right now, right, Bianca?
Yeah, she's taking her herbology course. So
no way.
yeah,
amazing.
she's been going to that one. Yeah, we've been. Yeah, it's really beneficial towards you guys. I've seen, because Nige, you're looking a lot younger, dude.
I got a filter on this. Must be a filter on the screen.
The wrinkles on your forehead are gone. But no, you've been killing it. And the thing is, it's like some people will be drawn towards these things, right? And they'll do it for like a day or like a week and be like, oh my gosh, no, it just like didn't work for me. But I'm proud of you because you stuck to it. You're like, I'm gonna do this cold water thing, and you've been doing it pretty much every day. You've been doing the mushrooms, you've been doing he does the foundation training every single morning. I hear it. And Dr. Ben Greenfield there. You think he learned it by now, but no, it's he's got the video going. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, good. You know what? You stuck to it, and that's the hardest thing people find is actually just like finding a program that works and then really putting it into like really, really getting it done and really putting the time into to see the benefits out of it. So
yeah. And then that's how you discover the fountain of youth, but it still has to be practical.
Right.
Yes.
That's my approach to medicine, is that it needs to fit into your life.
Exactly.
For sure, there's some sacrifice and you need to make it fit sometimes, but it's always a payoff and it shouldn't be work.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I know I really reflect, and I tell my friends all the time, because I'm 59. I just turned 59 on St. Patty's Day. And my neighbor, Paul, I mean, he's the Energizer Bunny, and he says, Nigel, it's all about longevity. And I really think about that a lot these days. And so this is, okay, so Reiko's been doing this with me, both of us together. And then our daughter's is crazy. She's a ski instructor and all this stuff. So they're up, they wanted to climb Mount Seymour for sunrise this morning. And Reiko looks it up. It was 5 a.m. So, but there's a gate at the bottom. Gate doesn't open to 7. So both of them are up at 6. Reiko's got her ice spikes on, and off they go. The two of them, they're up on the mountain now. It's a few hour climb to the one of the two of the summits up there. So the two of them have gone. She was out the door, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So it's just like this, like, I don't know if it's a fountain of youth, but it's just like this kind of brought this whole new, I don't know, something to us. So it's
spike for life.
Yes, that's right. Life. Yeah.
And
so
that's in your adrenals in Chinese medicine. That's all in the kidneys. And that's where you find longevity and that lust for life till you're 120. And then you just go to sleep and move on.
Beautiful.
Move on to the next thing.
Go into the next room. Yeah. Well, thanks, Dom. I really want to thank you so much for being on our show today. This is incredible. We got to have you on again because there's just so much. There's so much to talk about, and our listeners. I mean, this is something that has really changed our lives, and I just want to thank you so much for that. So,
well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Deb, do you want to wrap it all? Anything there?
No, that's basically it. I mean, if you guys would like to know more, check it out. We'll put the link in the description of the video. Other than that, do you have any last words for us there?
Yeah, Dom. Anything, Dom? I know I've got one little thing.
No, Dominique.
No, whatever you do, I think you should do it with passion. And food is medicine. And drink a lot of water. And keep it simple.
Yeah,
that's yeah.
And
water.
Another thing is if you're in Whistler, or you're living in Whistler, make sure to go and visit the Whistler Clinic at Creekside. It'll blow your mind. It's incredible. It's just drop in and say hi, and make an appointment and just try it out.
It's WhistlerClinic.com. Easy
Whistler,
to
Whistler. It's the Whistler Clinic, isn't it?
.com.
TheWhistlerClinic.com. So and it'll be on here too. So yeah. All right. Okie dokie. There we go.